Rebound taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Cleveland, this is for you.
Come here to cleanse your soul. Yeah, 4-4 and go. That other getting old. We got samurai and time. This is a sports octagon. Sports for forever and beyond. Spending with samurai and time. From the puck to the glove to the pigskins high. Share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. Down the baseline in the bleachers, or you wanna get denied. Yeah, share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. 4-4 and go. Come here to cleanse your soul. Yeah, it's 4-4 and go. Come here to cleanse your soul.
The Browns Super Bowl contenders.
Hey, listen, when we start talking about what wins Super Bowl, we talk about talent. The Browns, they have the talent. They have it.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, tonight do we ever have a show for you. I am super pumped, but welcome to episode 31 of 440 in goal. To my right, further back, El Samuel, bottom, El Tamo. What up, Tom? Yeah, boy. Super pumped about tonight's show. Really going to be interesting. Like you guys see on the bottom, we do have the head coach of St. John. I almost said the P word with that, but head coach of St. John, Bob Delgosh, let me make sure I say that right, and the wide receiver D-back coach, Marcus Parker. Hopefully he did message say he's having a few issues, but we'll work through that one as we go. How is the boys doing tonight, man? I'm pumped. Are you guys pumped?
I'm pumped. Listen, I got this is a very accurate description of me. El Samuel, the masktivist. Absolutely 100% accurate. I am, in fact, a masktivist. Instead of an activist, I am a masktivist. But all kidding aside, listen, everybody who's on tonight, thanks for getting in here. I am so excited. This is what we've all been trying to do since we started this, is to get involved with local high school teams, start talking about the coaches, start talking about the seasons. St. John is our first one. Thank God. You know what I mean? I'm super excited to get these get this on here, get it going. Give us a real shot. My personal goal for joining this, and one of my reasons to do this, is I always looked up to, growing up, the late great Joe Pete, and what he did for local sports, I think, is untouched. I don't think anybody will ever have that much meaning, but I know I would like to try. I know when we were in high school, sports felt like they mattered, and I think that's what we're trying to do here too.
Yeah, one of my fond memories of Joe was when actually the only time I ever received player of the game, and no, I did not receive it myself. The entire offensive line did. So I was one of 5 that received player of the game. So I got 20% of that kitty. But that was by Joe Pigskin Pete. So that is one of the reasons why we do this. And, like Sammy said, I'm pumped, man. Tom, are you pumped? Because I am.
Yes, super pumped. So kind of like Sammy said, one of the main goals. So just to give kind of a background on 440 goal here, if you haven't been tuning in from off the rip, originally it was just Ryan and I, and then we kind of got begged Sammy to get in. I wouldn't say I was on my knees with my hands up like this, but I pretty much was. But when we had like our first, if you could call it like a board meeting, I guess, we kind of wanted to go up and get these high school coaches community involvement, because that's what Ashtabula is it's a community of people that come together for a common goal of bettering not just themselves, but the community as a whole. And when you can get someone that's a leader in the community, a leader of young men and women to come in and support your show and really kind of just get their story out there, I think it behooves whoever is interviewing them to really gas them up. And I feel that we did that today. I saw a post at 1,400 engagements. That's by far the most I've ever seen. So you see what happens when people come together as a community, things improve. Well, when we bring people in like Bob Delgosh, like Marcus Parker, like Elijah Cooper, these kind of guys, these great men in our community, it really gives credence to the fact that Ashtabula can be a fantastic place, not just to be, but to have your children grow, because they're in the hands of fantastic men and women. And I'm honored that 4-4 on Goal can kind of put their stories and their experiences out there. And I'm really excited for that tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna.
I went on a tangent. Sorry.
No. I'll tell you what, Tom. You summed that up perfectly. To be quite honest with you, you summed that up perfectly of what we are trying to do here, and I'm super excited that we've been doing this for 3 months, and this is the culmination of all our work. It's not the pinnacle. I hope to God that this is not the very top, and it's all downhill from here. But this is
what we want to do.
Yeah. This is what we want to do. We want to talk about the local schools. So, if you're from Lakeside, you're one of the coaches watching right now, just know we'll be reaching out. Geneva, Jefferson, Edgewood, all of you guys, reach out to us too.
Tendrils out there right now. We've got
we do
a good possibility of we've got a nice relationship with Edgewood right now. We have an in with Jefferson as well. Some other schools, like I said, we're trying to fill that void for these kids around here because, give them a little bit of pride, being a kid. Everybody remembers being a kid's tough enough. Sometimes they need a little, they need a little extra. And that's what we're trying to do here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But, real quick, how was your guys' day so far? I didn't kill my son in coach pitch, so everything's good. I wanted to. I'll
be honest with you. I've been focused on this almost all day. I've been ready to do this all day, just ready to get this going. This has been, I felt like a kid, on Christmas, or for your birthday. Like you can't wait to get it started.
Yeah, for sure. My day was better than yesterday. I'll tell you that. These guys know yesterday was a bit tough day for me, but today they always say go to bed. Tomorrow's a new day, and it was a new day. I'll tell you what. So I'm super pumped, focused on this, and let's let it ride, as Ryan says.
Yep. Right before we get into the first topic, I want everyone to know that I was smoked 3 times today with baseballs. No, I'm not kidding. 3 times with coach pitch. One got me right in the gut. Owen got me right before. We were doing T-ball. We were practicing. Just absolutely annihilated me in close to the bottom half. We'll go that route. And then there was another one that just ricocheted off my shoulder. Great day, great day, Coach Pitt. So
you know what they say: keep your head on a swivel, kid.
Boy, hey, listen. Before the next time the batter came up, my glove was out here like this, and I'm throwing, leaning into him, but my glove was ready to rock, baby. I was not getting hit again. Now I'm not going for the 4th, not at all. So. Audience, we do have a couple topics like we always go with, a little bit of COVID update, a few there, but we will be having Marcus and Coach Bob Delgosh on here in a little bit. So let me share my screen real quick with everyone. I do have the COVID.
We're shooting for 9 o'clock for everybody paying attention, everybody watching. We're shooting for 9 o'clock to be the start of the interview. So, let it be known.
Right. Real quick. So don't forget, everyone, tonight's the night. If you're going to help us out, tonight's the night to like the stream, share the stream, follow us on Facebook. And I see that we do have 3 viewers over on YouTube. We need some help over on YouTube. So if you can go over on YouTube and go over there and follow us on YouTube and hit the notification bell, that would be great. So, but real quick, let's get into the COVID-19 update. Let me bring my screen back up for everyone. Simply put, cases, they didn't move from yesterday, but I think me, Sammy, and Tom have kind of determined that this may be a day late and a dollar short. But I don't know. I know the number down there in Ohio is really the big number that we're working with, because we do know that there are 12 to 15 counties that are in red and like a step away from purple, if I recall right.
Cuyahoga, I believe, was moved over to purple. So, purple
even better.
Yeah, purple being, the worst you can be. And Cuyahoga is a stone's throw away. So,
yes. So, but the numbers, I mean, we're consistent around 1,300 every day. It seems like it's just a number. I just hope we don't see it go up any higher. And you know what? I'm honestly going to congratulate Ashtabula County. I don't know what we're doing different than Lake County and Cuyahoga and all them.
I just became privy to some information as of this week that there is a severe delay in reporting. Okay, so now I'm not implicating Ashtabula. I'm not implicating any county in particular.
Okay.
I'm giving you information. You do with it what you will. There is no standardized method or time frame of reporting, which means you can hold on to results for as long as you want to and then release them in what you feel is a timely fashion. So that can be 2 weeks. That can be 3 weeks. So when we've had some jumps up like 1,500 in 24 hours. That means the 1,500 that were reported. So everybody immediately goes to, they're juicing the numbers. See, I told you, they're juicing them. Well, those positive tests still exist. So that means that those numbers, even if those numbers are not accurate as to right now, that means they were accurate a few weeks ago. So we have more
question real quick, Sam.
We have more tests coming, and we've been steadily increasing since.
So here's a question for you. If they can kind of control the flow of information as kind of I get, I'm not saying that you said that, what I'm saying, but kind of what I garnered, doesn't that violate the Freedom of Information Act? Because the Freedom of Information Act ensures citizens are informed, vital to functioning of a democratic society. That's verbatim. So doesn't that kind of violate that because we can't be properly informed in that way? Because
it doesn't, because without a hard definition of time, you have then given too much leeway. So there's leeway on either side. There's a legal precedent that you know what I mean? You can withhold.
Time's just a construct, man.
Yeah.
And that's a construct.
And
like
they do that now and it is what it is. But the positive tests that are there are, they're there. So the numbers are where they are. But we do spend a lot of time on that, so we'll hit that for another day because we got a good show tonight, uplifting show.
So real quick, California shuts down bars, gyms, pools, restaurants. I think there's a few other things in there, so it's coming. Obviously, California's always known to kind of do things differently, but I can't be mad at them. They're just being as safe as they can. So over there, they're doing, I guess, things as best as they can. But big topic is right now in the NBA is Holmes and Westbrook. I guess Westbrook more than Holmes just because of the position and the player that he is. They both test positive. Yeah, right. That too. Yes. Yeah. So Holmes is a center for the Sacramento Kings, and obviously there's Russell Westbrook. But
my Boricua brother.
Right. they both test positive. And they both are on, I think it's a 10-day quarantine, 8 or 10 day, one of those. So and then, but Holmes, is it 8? But was it who was it? We read last night, and I didn't put it up here. I wish I did. Who was the player that walked across the line?
That would be
and had to go. Was it okay? So then, so we do kind of have this wrong. Westbrook did test positive. Holmes literally walked across a line that the NBA said you can't. Right?
Yeah. So technically, there are 3 players under quarantine because 2 players have tested positive. So James Harden is the second one. So James Harden and Russell Westbrook are the 2 that test positive. Holmes got caught up in something that 100%, if we were in a bubble, that's how I would get caught, because I've always likened myself to the fat kids from Heavyweights, and I will sneak food by all means possible. So if I got caught for quarantine, that's how they're getting me, is when they find out that I'm going at 3:00 in the morning to get some Jimmy John's.
Yeah, so it was Rashawn Holmes, but it was also Bruno Cavacolo, who's a pretty vital role player on the team that he's on. He claims, "Oh, I didn't know." You know what I mean? But I mean, I would assume that in a guideline book that's thick, that I mean, bro, don't give me that horse shit. Like,
Right.
so you got two dudes who just willingly broke the rules. I mean, like, what the heck is going on, man? Like, is food more important than playing basketball? Because right now, basketball is super important for them.
No, because if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. If you anytime, and it's not just NBA players, it's not just NFL players, it's people in general, particularly when you get in a large group, because sometimes people want to flex. If you give an inch, a mile will always be taken. When you give rules, there are people who are going to try and break the rules. So that doesn't really surprise me as much. The people getting caught for going out don't. I will say this. And mark it down that I'm going to give a positive review on COVID right now. I think the fact that only 2 people have tested positive is very, very good, as long as it stays at only 2 people.
Yeah,
right. Yep.
I really think that whole bubble will melt down if LeBron, God forbid, I pray it doesn't happen. Spoiler, I pray it doesn't happen, or disclaimer. But if LeBron James tests positive for COVID, man, that whole thing is just going to melt to the ground faster than the Iron Throne did in the last episode of Game of Thrones.
I like that. I like that.
Yep.
That is going to melt quicker than anything.
Season 8.
All right.
Those people should be put in prison for life.
Stop it.
You quit it, you fanboy.
So listen, moving on from COVID, Washington's caught, man. Listen, the dude that did this, props to him. Just pretty much every potential name for Washington. Some guy 5 years ago went and spent $20,000 and got him not copyright the trademark of them, whatever it is, but that name of Washington, whether it's the Red Tails, I don't know. There's like 8 of them. Red Tails, you guys name, I don't know, but amazing. I love the guy. I can't believe that he did it, especially with Snyder. I honestly, I think Snyder's a big old. He's not the smartest guy in the world. I'm trying to be not so I guess ignorant about my comment, but so I've thought Snyder, we all know the Browns are a dumpster fire, but if there's one that's either right with them or ahead of them, it's the Washington no names right now, because who knows what they're going to say. So obviously everyone knows they retired the logo, and I don't want to say the word because I'm trying to avoid that, just because of political correctness and my feelings toward that as well. But the biggest thing is, what do you guys think about the top 3 from the panel? So we all talk about this.
I want to say this. So the guy that went out and bought all those names, it reminds me of this old skit from In Living Color, where they would go, "Mo money, mo money, mo money," because that's straight up a business move.
Hell all right.
Go out, buy all that stuff, and now they're coming to you. It reminds me of this TV show called The League, when Taco goes out and buys the Dallas Cowboys website and instantly becomes a millionaire. So I'm not hating on him at all. Like, dude, get in where you fit in. I love it. I absolutely love it. But no, go ahead, Tom.
It reminds me of The Office when Ryan and Michael do wolf.com, and then they're like, well, wait, we got a guy that wants to buy it. Wait, who is it? Washington University Hospital of Podiatry and Feet or something like that. Well, why don't you sell? Because we can make way more money right now. That's just like, it just reminds me of that, man. Oh my, it's fantastic. And if it, how fitting would it be if it were BJ Novak? That'd be fantastic if he's the one that did it.
Yes, it would.
I'd shit myself. But the top three, for Washington Redskins, the Red Tails, the Red Hawks, and I would almost say the Senators. That was the old baseball team, man. Like, bring that in. Like that was a brand. The Washington Senators were a brand back in the day, man. Like, I mean, not really after a while. They haven't been petered out, but
I agree. First of all, I think it is ridiculous that there is no political tie. Like you're Washington.
It's Washington.
Like,
yeah,
you should. It should have to be something politic-esque. You know what I mean? Even if they were the Washington Liars, I don't care. It needs to be something beautiful. Like,
yes.
Call them the Washington Swanson. I don't care, but
oh god,
I really do. I think Red Wolves of the top three that are going. I will say this: I hate Warriors. Absolutely hate that name.
It's just a reappropriation.
Why? Yeah,
it's just a reappropriation.
It's if you're gonna go, you're trying to get away from the problematic name you have in the first place. Go completely the other way. You don't even need to be in the same ballpark. So you want to keep Red Wolves is cool. Red Tails is cool. Red Face, Red Storm. I don't care. But I don't like Warriors. I've never liked Warriors, and it's not even the appropriation of Native American culture in that. I just think the name is stupid. So I don't like it.
I mean, the leading one right now is Warriors. I think per Vegas is that it's gonna, I think it's like 5-1 that it's gonna be the Warriors. But I'll tell you what, though, I'm gonna give you my top three in order from least favorite to favorite. Okay. So I do like Warriors. No, similar to the first one that I got for you, but I do like Warriors. I don't know why. I think just that it just rings a good bell. The Washington Warriors. I think it makes sense for me because they can even change. I mean, obviously they're changing the logo, but they genuinely can go to any logo they want to at this point. Like there's no tie with Warriors, meaning like if you go to the Red Hawks, obviously you're going to have a bird of some sort. Right. You know what I mean? But the Warriors allow them they can change the entire color, everything. So I do like number two for me, the one that I think sounds good, and the name is the Washington Red Tails. I think it just sounds good. I don't know. It's just my opinion. But my number one, Nick Billman will probably agree with me on this just simply because of the way it sounds. And that is going to be the Washington Battle Hogs. All day long, I will become a Battle Hogs fan if they go that route.
Not the XFL, right?
I don't care. Name them the Battle Hogs, baby. I want them to I'll buy a jersey. Like imagine like a hog on the side of the helmet, and we're not talking about like Arkansas hog. We're just talking about like this fierce hog with horns coming out of its front mouth, like on an airplane or something. I don't know, something. It would be great. It's just something wild.
That is Walt Disney's wet dream right there. Just having Pumbaa in an old school like military thing. Oh my God, Walt Disney would just be freaking out in his grave, man.
Listen, they're either going to be the Washington Chupacabras or I'm not watching football anymore. Decided.
Why don't we throw our name in the hat for naming rights to the stadium? Then we can name it whatever the hell we want. 440 and Gold Stadium. The house that Cam Stanley and Cole built.
All right, you know what I mean? There it is.
You are right, Nick.
Account. Start it.
Go fund me. Let's go, guys.
But let's see, and that's really it. I'm excited. Here in a couple moments, we're going to bring on coaches from St. John, like we got scrolling on the bottom. I got to do. Let's just do business of the day. Take our first and last break real quick. Take 4 minutes out. Let Tom do his thing. Let me bring it up because this one is for my wife, who I'm pretty pumped about because I had some of the amazing stuff she sells. My wife is It Works representative. Hold on one second. Let me take this off the bottom. There we go. That is my wife in the bottom right-hand corner. She sells a product called Skinny Brew. It's produced by a company named It Works, the company that she works for. It's her own business. She's a representative for them. Let me tell you something. I had this stuff this morning, and man, I had to change the scenery, change of mind on how things are going to go for me, because I was just, I don't want to say bouncing off the walls, but I was awake. I was ready to rock and roll. So it's called Skinny Brew. You can find her on Facebook. It's just, let's see, Rebecca Elizabeth, I do believe. And then she has her own, and I will get that here in a moment. I think I actually have it, but she has her own site. Yeah, there it is. I'm sorry, RebeccaCole.itworks.com. But you can look her up on Facebook. You can, I won't give her number out here, or you can find her information right on the It Works website. But I'm telling you guys, the Skinny Brew product that she puts out, one, it is a weight loss supplement, which anyone that knows me, it probably won't hurt. But it's also a supplement to just help get your day going. You drink it like it's coffee. You just mix hot water, your 8 ounces, 10 ounce, 12 ounce cup of hot water out of the Keurig, mix this product in. And then I'm pretty sure that's her messaging me. Nope. But mix this product in, and when that product goes in, you just stir it up and you drink it. It tastes just like coffee. I think I'm a new believer in it. I tried it a couple times, didn't really think much about it, and now I have the product, and I really like it. It's genuine, and it makes you feel good and get your day rolling perfectly. So, hon, I love you. Thank you so much for supporting me in the show and everything. So, everyone on here, RebeccaCole.itworks.com. You can also just message her on Facebook, or you can message me too, Ryan Cole. You can look me up, and I can get you her information. So, let me take this banner off real quick, and we're going to take our only break of the night. And we'll see you guys here in less than 4 minutes with Bob Delgosh, Coach Bob Delgosh, and Coach Marcus Parker of the St. John Heralds. See you guys in a minute.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Cleveland, this is for you.
Come here to cleanse your soul. Yeah, 4-4 and go. Let the other get no. We got Sam Ryan time. This is a sports octagon. Sports for forever and beyond. Spending with Sam Ryan time. From the puck to the glove to the pigskins high. Share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. Down the baseline in the bleachers, or you wanna get denied. Yeah, share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. 4-4 and go. Come here to cleanse your soul. Yeah, it's 4-4 and go. Come here to cleanse your soul.
The Browns Super Bowl contenders.
Hey, listen, when we start talking about what wins Super Bowl, we talk about talent. The Browns, they have the talent. They have it.
Thank you, my friend Elvis, my cousin.
Yes. Yeah, quick shout out to Elvis. He's the one that helped us out with that logo.
Yes, sir.
Love it. So let's get the party started. I've been pumped about this all day. Without further ado, I can only do one at a time. But Coach Bob Delgosh, let me unmute him so we can say hi, and Coach Marcus Parker. Unmute him. Yeah, he's unmuted. Hey, welcome to the show, boys.
Here we are.
Yes. So we have been pumped about this for the past, 4 days myself. That's when we got the commitment from Coach Bob. And, Marcus just we told him his head coach was going to be on here and told him he should be on here too. So there he is sitting over there. So that's the way that one worked out. But super excited, guys. Thank you so much for joining the show. I can't wait to get in some topics tonight about St. John football. But I'll let Coach Bob. Do you like Coach Bob? I should ask that
Coach
question.
Bob, Coach Delgosh, Bob, Coach D, whatever works for you.
Okay. So his son. Oh yes, gotcha. All right, Coach. I'm gonna let you take the floor. I want you to kind of introduce yourself, let everyone know what you do, why you do it, how you do it, man.
All right. Well, I just got to say, we've been excited just the same way. This is such an honor to be one of the first head coach on your program. We've been following it. We love what you're doing for local sports and the community, what you guys are talking about. And I'd like to talk about it more later, but what you guys do to bring back that exposure for our kids, the kind of things Joe Pete did, that's so awesome. And so me and Marcus, we've been talking the same way for the last 4 days. We just can't wait till Tuesday night to do this thing. Like you said, I'm Bob Delgosh. I've been in Catholic. Let's see here. Well, my family moved in the third grade. They put me in Mount Carmel building, and then 7 through 12, I was on Station Avenue. So I'm an 06 graduate of the school. Played football there, 7th through 12th grade, and loved every minute of that. And then went to school. Went to a little stint in the Army for a little bit, and then when I made my way back home, I'll be honest, I wasn't even sure if education would be my pathway, but I started substitute teaching to see if I liked it. I must have done something right, because they kept calling me back. And then between Nick Irochi and then Coach Don Irochi at the time, one of the legends in this area, he said, "Hey, you'd make a good junior high football coach for me." I said, "Well, that's great." So I started working on that in the summer, and then I'm not joking, about 4 days before school started, sister caught me in the parking lot. Me and Coach Irochi were getting ready to go down the Vienna Matthews or something and scout their scrimmage. She goes, "Hey, well, I'd like to see you on Monday. I got some good news for you." Show up Monday, and she found a way to get me a full-time position of teaching in the school that year. So it was really, really awesome. And that was 6 years ago. Since then, I've been teaching high school there, religion classes and social studies classes. And on the football side of things, I did 2 years with Don, learned a lot. You can learn a lot from that guy. And then Coach Nicely stepped in And again, he brought a different kind of style, a different philosophy, which is really cool because I got the best of both worlds. I got an experienced coach that knows it like the back of his hand, ran more of a power game. Then Coach Nisley came in, ran a spread game, a little more up-tempo, and I get to combine all that, so it's really, really neat. Now here I am. That's my story.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, so we got Marcus on right below me here. Hey, Marcus, thanks so much for joining the show. I know me and Sammy have known you probably too long. Let's just be honest with each other here. But, I hear, Marcus, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but I think it will transition well. I hear some of the kids at St. John love them some Coach P. Yeah. Go ahead. I'll let you introduce yourself, kind of how you got involved, what you do over at St. John, and why you do it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me, man. You know, I wasn't gonna let Coach Bob be up here by himself, man. So I gotta have. I'm having whatever you do, I got his back. But with him touching on going to St. John on Station Avenue, it's crazy because I grew up on Station Avenue, so everybody in that class was like our generation, so. Seeing them guys every day was pretty cool as well. I got into the St. John program as a basketball coach, assistant coach, for Coach Curtis. And the only guy I really knew coming into the season was, one of our two seniors, Dante. Hey, Coach P, what's up, D-Sal? I'm going to touch on D-Sal. We'll touch on D-Sal later on, on the show. But, I came in, Dante was the only guy that I knew. So it was like, it's a new bond coming in with these guys, and our school's so small. Those same guys that were on the basketball team are on the football team. So it's like, I got that bond with you guys, and I didn't expect it to be where it's at, but I love it. I mean, guys listen, they want to get better, and coming from guys like me who come from experiences that can teach them how to be better, help put them in positions to be better. It's a blessing, and being one of them wanted me to coach football was like. Damn, man, that was cool. Rock had called me like 2 months ago, shortly right after Coach Nisley retired. He was like, man, the boys love you, man. I want you to coach. And so what do you think about coaching? I was like, I mean, can I say no?
At that point, you can't. You can't.
Yeah, but it was like, so I was coaching football youth league at, Lakeside Youth Varsity last year. So it was pretty dope to, 1 year of football experience at the youth level, and then next year coaching high school. It's like, that doesn't really happen a lot. It's a blessing.
No, and Coach Dogash actually named two people that I actually want to give a shout out to on there too. So Dom Irochi, for those of you who don't know, he's talked about him as a local legend. He is legitimately local legend material. I mean, that guy not only involved with St. John's football program forever and ever, but back even when we were in school, he was Lakeside Scout, really knew football inside and out. So I have a lot of respect for him. So that tutelage is really great, for you, Coach Bob. And the other one I want to give a shout out is athletic director, Nick Irochi. That guy really gets run to death because I'm telling you, nobody works harder. No, I've never seen an athletic director work that hard, and it's all for the love of the kids. Like I see, he's not only the athletic director, he's the head coach of the girls' basketball team too. So like you guys as coaches know how much that is. So I just want to send a shout out to both of those guys because I know them both, and they're both great people.
Oh yeah. Give a shout out to Rock, man. It's like his 22nd season, and he got a 200th win this year, man. He had two girls, score over 1,000 points. And man, it was a really dope season for Rock. Unfortunately it ended, rough with Cornerstone Christian girls who were really tough, but had a really successful season, man. I'm proud of Rock.
Nice. So I'm going to let Coach Bob take the floor again because I know you wanted to talk a little bit about your staff, who you brought in, everyone that is part of the St. John Herald football program over there. But go ahead, your time to shine. Talk. The only time you're probably going to talk highly about Marcus until the end of the season. At least I hope so.
I appreciate that. I really do. I will say this might be the one point where I get more long-winded than usual because I told the kids too on day one, Marcus, you were there. If I do nothing else right as a head coach all year, I think I did one thing right for sure, and that's put together this football staff, and quickly too. And so what I did was, kind of everything we did fell into a role. The role players, we'll put it to you like that. The first thing we did was I said, I'm 32. I've never been a head coach. Who's a guy that can maybe bring some head coaching experience to the program? And so, and one that is respected and knows how to run a quality program. And so we thought outside the box, and we went and we got Coach Turner, our head basketball coach. So there's a guy that we know he knows how to run an operation. He can be a mentor to me on some of those tough head coaching things that got to take place. And this is the thing I'd say about every one of them. The kids love him. And then we had Coach Alvin Rodriguez, was actually just days away from starting the strength and conditioning program at our school. Totally separate. I had played football with him back in 05, 06, stuff like that. But we hadn't had any conversation about football back in March. Knisley was still the head coach, but he had it all planned out to come in the mornings. And I think his first session was going to be on a Tuesday, and that Friday was the last day of school or whatever it was because of the COVID shutdown. So unfortunately, he didn't get that opportunity to start that. When things started to open back up, I said, hey, we could use somebody that can come and get these guys lean and fit. And, obviously, that's not me or Coach Turner. Marcus to a degree. Alvin's just the right guy for the job. He's a personal trainer and is to make a living. But for him, it's all about just giving back to the school. He's another alumni. He wants to make these kids better, be part of our football program and our school community. So that was a no-brainer. Then we thought, let's kind of keep going with the youthful group. Want to keep a little continuity with our staff from last year. So we had a kid that, he's young. He's 19. If anyone tells me that that's too young to be on the varsity staff, I'm going to tell them I don't care. Simple as that. He played on that playoff team, and then he volunteered for Coach Knisley and all of us last year and did just a phenomenal job. And that's Coach Ryan Bento. So he's going to be on our staff and work very closely with me on offense. And then finally, I figured why not, last but least here, Coach Parker. The truth is, this is what I'm most proud of because I had some ideas. I didn't mention it to Rock yet. They said, you got to figure out a staff. Sister's giving you the green light. Do what you got to do. And I'm in the back of my head thinking, there's this guy. I'm not even sure I know his first name. But I know this Coach Parker always seems to have his stuff together when he's doing the JV basketball games. Our conversations were just in the hallway. I'm going to make copies for tomorrow's lesson, and he's already there getting ready for the JV game. Always the first coach there. Not that beating Coach Turner to anything saying a whole lot, but and I just was really impressed. And I knew that the kids really liked him. And then totally separate to that Ryan Bento is also helping with a summer league baseball thing that some of our kids are doing. And that was the one thing everyone come up to him. Do you think there's no way to go get Coach P involved? Do you think Coach P would be interested in football? So when I heard that, I said, well, I nailed that one on the head. Let's give the guy a call. And again, so we've got coaches that people like. We've got coaches that are young and energetic and enthusiastic. And we got coaches with experience in a lot of different fields. So we're excited.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the people that you bring in. So just kind of commenting on some of the guys that, just from the ones I know. So Alvin Rodriguez in particular, if you guys don't know who he is, he's an absolute giant. So if you want your kids to get bigger and get stronger, this is like, you guys really, really nailed it there. And Marcus, I've known him for years. Marcus hasn't just been coaching for a couple of years. Marcus has been coaching since we got done with school. So I really, the biggest compliment, and it's a compliment to you. It's a compliment to St. John. It's a compliment to, the athletic director, Nick Irochi. I think that St. John is bar none, by far, the most forward thinking, athletic department in the county. Like, I love what you guys are doing. I love this youthful infusion into a football program. And I think that's going to translate very well. Like, I think you have a lot of great football minds there. And one of the things that St. John has to deal with is, because of enrollment and also because of just flat out kids wanting to play, is trying to get kids to come out. Mm-hmm. So what are you guys doing with that? How are you guys kind of trying to, maybe as a team effort, or you know what I mean, or coming up with some sort of like an idea of how to get more kids to get out there? Because I remember the playoff year, and for a small school, St. John Sir had a lot of people out there supporting that team. Sure. So passion is there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you just hit the nail on the head. You bring in, not that there's anything wrong with an experienced guy, bar none, but you got guys that are really passionate about it and they're energetic. And that could be a young guy, an old guy, an experienced guy, an inexperienced guy. But then on top of that, you bring in guys that, the kids want to play for because they put the kids first, like Coach P over here. That just goes so far. And it doesn't help that I'll be in the school building as a teacher, just like we have with Coach Nisley. So that's a really cool thing in terms of getting the kids out that we already have now. I don't know if Coach P wants to say something about that.
I'm being on here, man. I'm kind of like into this TBT as well, but I'm so happy to, thinking forward. Like you said, man, I kind of think, we're the most forward-thinking program as well. That's no shots to Edgewood, no shots to Lakes. Because there's, Elijah, like a brother to me, he's coaching over there at Edgewood. Terry's, family to me, he's coaching at Lakeside, as well as Kevin Crockett, who's on the board. So, no shade to them. But, the fact that we got, the U, Ryan was part of that playoff team, man. So he knows these kids that's playing, and they listen to him. So that's a guy that you kind of got to have right there. He can get them, he knows what it takes to get there. I never made it to the playoffs in high school. I was a sophomore when Lakeside went, but I didn't play. But, you got Josh Cooper, Elijah Cooper. You don't need me. It's pretty tough, man. I'm just really excited to get into this season. Hopefully, it's Bull. We can get the play. Man. I want to see Bob out there fired up. So I got a reason to get fired up too and not get in trouble for it.
I do have a quick question I just thought of, and it is, what are you guys most excited about this year coming up? Just as as a whole, it could be anything, whether it's the players, whatever you want to be. Just genuinely, what is, like Marcus, obviously you coach the basketball. So this will be your first year coaching football of any kind, correct?
Yeah, well, it's my second year, but, I coach youth.
Okay.
I
gotcha.
We don't really have, it's a new program, it's all our first year. So to me, there's really no expectation. So what we do after this year, is where we expect things. But right now, it's like, okay, we're finding pieces to the puzzle. Who can do this? Who can do that? So I'm excited to see who can do this, who can do that, who can give me what I didn't ask for. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I'm much excited for. As for programs who've been together, they know, they got their players. Okay, this is your job. You're our go-to. We don't really have that yet, so us being able to mold that guy into a X factor or go-to, man, that's what it's about. That gotta love that.
Let's see
That's probably
good. That's a good.
Delgosh.
Yep. The audience side.
What?
So. John McCoy, one of our viewers, he asked, just so everyone sees it, with what you know you have coming out, what kind of base defense / offense package are you boys rolling with?
Hi, good question. We got some ideas. That's a really good point at the beginning there, though. You have to know what you have coming out, and that's nowhere is that more true in a small school like St. John, a D6, D7 school. It's not this just like, well, we're Cardinal Mooney, so we're going to run the same thing for 30 years, and the kids are going to learn in second grade tackle football, and that's the way it is. I mean, Coach P will tell you, we don't have a whole lot of real big athletes up front this year. They're just not there, so we have to take that into consideration on both sides of the ball. But right now, what we're looking at our schedule, we think there's a lot of teams that are going to pound the ball. So we're looking at a 4-4 defense as our base, something that we could easily roll out into a 4-3 if either if a team's passing on us or if we want to give a double safety look or something like that. But that's where we're at there. And we'll see. We'll look at the personnel. We could always deviate from that. Coach P and Coach Rodriguez are going to really focus on defense and help me with that. And then on offense, like I said, I want to run the ball. I said it offline, but we don't have a whole lot of big guys, but I think we've got ways that we can move the football with our brains, with our skill set and our brains. So I know Coach Bent will get upset probably, but we definitely plan to run a triple option this year, or at least start with that.
Nice.
Yeah. Because we got smart kids in the backfield, and we've got lean kids that can get downfield and make a block up front. So let's read some guys and make good decisions and pounding ground for 3 yards. Why not?
Oh yeah. We're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I think that is a unique challenge, I think, to smaller schools such as St. John is I feel like you have to evolve every single year. So, and you guys are coming in. You guys get this unique ability too that you get to start it. So what you guys run this year could be completely different from next year. But right. I think it's so cool, and I've always watched lower division football, even when I was in high school, because it was very cool because you would see teams that did different offenses because you don't have such a huge amount of kids to pull from that maybe one year you don't have a long arm quarterback. So you have to figure out how to do this option thing. Or maybe another year you have big, bulky running backs, but you've got a guy who can throw a mile. So you have to kind of switch and play on, you know what I mean? Where you, like you said, you can't be like Cardinal Mooney, like, hey, learn these plays, brother, because this is what we do.
Right.
So actually, kind of going with that real quick, Joe Rich, he just asked a simple question. I do believe he told me that he used to be one of the head coaches at St. John back in the day. But how many kids? So how many projected amount of kids coming out this year?
I think we're going to be right at about 20, give or take.
Okay.
Give or take. I'm hoping for a few more. But I think that's a sound, fair number to give you right now today.
Right. Say, Marcus, you better be banging in those hallways, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's you, brother.
Yeah. It's cool because I know a lot of the youth. So I talk to those parents, kids that's in like 6th, 7th grade. Because what me and Coach Doug been talking on is we're a young school, so we need to build this program. So yeah, we can probably get some juniors, some seniors come in now, but how's that going to help our program moving forward with us already being a small school? So we're small, so we got to start them coming in as freshmen, molding them so they can get kids like, oh man, well, I want to go play with this guy because he's a freshman or he's a sophomore and he's doing this. I'm in 7th grade, maybe I can play with him when when he's a junior and I'm a freshman. So that's where we're at. And being a small Division 7 school, it's kind of there. You just got to put that work in.
Yeah, so the one thing I find really interesting that you guys are talking about, like Coach Bob, you just said you got like a vague number right now of about 20 kids. Okay, so obviously in football, from my limited experience with football, excluding punter and kicker, you got pretty much 22 positions you have to fill on the field at any time. And the other thing you guys talked about, you're younger. So Bob, you said you're 32. Marcus, you're around that age because I think I remember going to high school with you. But I was a nerd. I didn't really run with that athletic crew. So my question is, so you see these head coaches in like the NFL, the NCAA, like guys like Sean McVay, Matt Rule, Joe Judge, those kind of guys who were getting these head coaching jobs and they're younger. Even Urban Meyer when he was at like Bowling Green, that kind of thing. So one thing I've kind of noticed with those younger head coaches is they're more open to innovation, I guess you could say, if that's the correct terminology. Like, hey, Urban Meyer came in and he was a little bit older, but he utilized Percy Harvin, who was arguably a wide receiver, in like a running back hybrid role. Do you guys foresee using innovation as a big part of your game plan, like maybe putting positional mismatches out there, like, hey, this mobile quarterback, but I mean, dude's got legs for days. You know what I mean? Like, could you maybe envision splitting someone out wide that might be quarterback just to kind of take advantage of different stuff because you have less to work with?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And sometimes you do have to do things like that, like move around the player that can make a play to different positions. And then I know Coach P says he likes to be real aggressive on defense. So we'll look for things like that. We'll look for mismatches upstairs. As far as innovation, though, I don't know how innovative the triple option is. That's been around, but yeah, and it is a challenge. What you're saying is to say, well, there's maybe 22 kids on the team, and you need 22 positions. But let's be realistic. There are going to be some freshmen that we can play, but we can't ask them to play to start. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
sure.
you really have to sit down with that. It's kind of a 50-50 thing. It doesn't take real long to set your depth chart because it only goes so far, but you got to do it right. You really got to get the guys in the right spot.
Right.
Well, talking about the depth chart, actually, and I kind of want to play off what he's talking about with the innovation. So one of the things you see at the smaller school level, particularly when you only have 20 kids out there, as opposed to a Division I where maybe you're going to have 3 quarterbacks and you can work 3 quarterbacks and all 3 quarterbacks can run the same type of offense, ability-wise. How do you get around that? Because, so like you can run and get very comfortable with maybe a triple option with your starting quarterback,
Right.
but your second string quarterback, even just your second string quarterback, could be that freshman that you're coming in and you're molding him because he'll be a bigger player for you next year. But as we've seen every single year, those injuries hit. So how do you reduce the playbook for them? Do you change your play calling? Like, how do you kind of address that? Like, because you almost have to be like Nostradamus and see ahead and predict.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I'll do you one better. If let's say my starting quarterback, and these are all just projections, but the guy we got starting quarterback right now, real early, were to go down, I actually have to take the right wing and put him there. It's not one that's coming off the bench. I mean, if it's someone coming off the bench, I'm not knocking anybody, but we'll be better off moving the wing around. And then we got to bring somebody in to play the wing. So, like you said, it's a big time domino effect, and it creates problems. But what do we do right now? We try to prepare for that as much as we can. So, like we were talking before, one of the things about having a smaller group is you can get through a lot quicker. So we can run through our individual drills. I've only got maybe 8, 9 kids in each individual set. So it's not like you're trying to get 25 kids through a drill. It gives us more time to work as a team. So I say, okay, Seth, you got hurt. Davey, come here. You're in quarterback. Ian, you're in the game. And then we work those different scenarios. We work them as much as we can. And to kind of really reach back from something you said earlier, Sammy, another thing you're right about is you have to have a few different backup plans. And one thing I should have mentioned with the one question was, we're not abandoning that spread offense. The one nice thing about that is these kids had 3 years to work on that. And I'm projecting 20 to 22 kids, 9 of them are seniors. So all the juniors, more or less, were 3-year juniors. So I can just say, hey, empty right, 100, and don't know what to do today. So that's still going to be part of our offense. That's always something you could maybe revert back to if we had an injury or we had something where my philosophy is not working. So, but yeah, you got a lot of contingency plans.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of variables.
Yeah.
You get almost a benefit though. With a smaller group like that, I think, because I think with a large group of athletes, granted, nobody's ever turning down a large group of athletes. I understand. But I think with a smaller, with a large group of athletes, there's always a level of unsureness, particularly when things change. But I think one of the cool things about having a small group like you guys do is you guys can really the team is going to be as sharp as you make it. So if you you can have, I feel like, much more confidence in everybody, like knowing everybody's limitations, everybody where they're at. And this is what this guy can do because it's a smaller piece. You know what I mean? And considering the teams you're playing are all on the same level, you know what I mean? I think it makes for a much more chess-like match in football because you're really you're taking away some of the cheat codes per se. And you're having to, you know what I mean, you're having to really utilize the your talent at its peak.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's a great point.
Yeah, you got to get the most out of everybody that you got out there. I mean, that's the same with every level, but you're right. It's kind of magnified with a small team and a small group. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's pretty dope because a lot of guys will play both ways. So, you get the maximum both ways. So that's pretty cool.
That conditioning coach, man.
Yeah. Yes, they are, man. Man, playing both ways, that's got to be tough. Like, now that I think about it, I mean, 2 years ago when, it was 11-man ball, how many, do you guys remember how many kids were playing both ways? Or was there that many?
I think there was like 8, right?
Yeah, I would say 7 or 8 kids were still playing both ways. But again, if you had an injury, it wasn't the end of the world. We had guys coming off the bench, and they were coming off the bench fresh. And the other challenge to that is, from a coaching perspective, is like you have a turnover, and let's say we screw up this triple option pitch, and I want to talk to my quarterback and my wing and my fullback about the exchange. They're all turning around. They're on defense now. They're not coming to the sideline.
Right.
Right. The thing and this and that, and here's the film from upstairs. No. So, but that's why as coaches, you just have to make quick adjustments and find creative ways to communicate that in. That's why we will make sure that not everyone goes both ways. We try to find, a smart kid that maybe we want to rest one way of the ball anyhow. Whether that's maybe the center or something like that. And he comes over and we say, hey, this is what I need you to relay to the team when you get back in there and stuff like that. So.
I never thought about it that way. Yeah, because when I played ball, we Lakeside, there was a body in every jersey. It didn't matter what it was, but yeah, I never thought about it that way. So that's a very interesting point. One thing I did want to ask, we kind of talked about it off air, but two-a-days, are you guys doing two-a-days? And if you are, when and where?
That's a good question. I'm really hoping for a little more guidance from the state. I told the kids today that I'm not going to hand them an August schedule until I know a little bit more, because I hate to tell them a bunch, everything's a lie, or have to adjust to it. I think we all know that soon we're supposed to hear a little bit more from the governor's office. So when that happens, I'll let you know. But my philosophy is I'd like to do two-a-days. I'd like to do two-a-days. When and where? Well, out back at St. John, and when we're in the morning, because the whole coaching staff's available. It's a little bit cooler. Gives the kids to have the rest of the day to themselves. And the way I plan to work them, they're going to go home and sleep the rest of the day anyhow. So it kind of works out good.
Oh, heck yeah.
One of the things we talked about also, and it kind of relates to one of the comments on here. Elvis Torres says, you think being K through 12 will be an advantage getting up to speed as a program? You have a giant. If you have a giant in 4th grade, you have 4 years to train him up before he hits high school. And that was one of the things we talked about, that your primary goal right now is actually getting junior high football back.
Yeah, correct. That's what I said from the very beginning. I'll tell you, one thing I said was this year, let's not drag the kids along and say we're going to have junior high football if the numbers just weren't there. The numbers weren't there in June, or I should say April. So when I found out everything, I said, that's just, because that turns kids off to it. when they come, and then there's no reward. But priority number one next year needs to have a junior high football program, because that's where you build. That's where you get guys to learn the game. That's where they come out and they already have that skill set. It's also, like you said, an opportunity to get them excited about the game, and that. So that's a big thing for us. And then I was telling you guys, a couple of our coaches, right, Sammy and Ryan, of our midget, we'll call it the flag football, intramural football that we do, which I think is really awesome. I told you guys that it's incredible. That's a much tougher coaching job than what me or Coach P do by far, is to get first and second graders lined up the right way and to snap the ball and to pick it up and put it back on and all that. So, but what we plan to do, and that kind of goes to that question about being the pre-K through 12, I believe, is me and my coaching staff, we want to be there more often on Sundays. When we want to bring our high school kids, the guys that they can look up to, on Sundays. Not step on any toes or get in the way, but just be there and they see that, I think. And really more than seeing me or Coach Parker or Coach Bento or anybody is going to be seeing, Davey DeSalvatore, the big man on campus, David Fuentes walking around, the guys they see on Friday night and they cheer for. And then that big monster says in the fourth grade, right now, that's what I want to do. When I'm in high school, when I'm a 12th grader, I want my senior night to look like that. I want to score that touchdown. So that goes a long way. That stuff all goes a long way.
Yeah, one of the things I can remember, actually, like agreeing with what you said. So that pride really gets established in 7th grade. We have a lot of programs around here, the Freeway League, all the youth sports leagues that I think do a great job of teaching at a very basic level football. But I know the difference comes when you get into that 7th grade, because you're just before high school, and that's where you kind of start to look up to guys. So seeing, getting to learn the game, practice even in the same area as those kids, I think it builds a culture. And that's really what I'm most excited about, is what I see from you guys and your staff and the youth, and really just the overall, I think the way you guys are approaching this is I see a culture building crew here. And that's all it takes, because I believe Ashtabula as a whole has fantastic athletes. And I've seen personally, I know that so my daughters are 11 and 13. I know my 11-year-old's class is huge, absolutely huge. And they have just a ridiculous amount of athletes. So assuming that, especially if something like the junior high can get set up, I really, really can't wait to see what St. John does, because, they were around all of 2 years before they make the playoffs, because that was the thing. Like that playoff team is not like a long established team out here. This was guys that worked for about 2 to 3 years for an ultimate goal. And that's something I can see you guys doing, because I really see it on the way that the kids work with you. Well, and later on in the show, I actually can't. I would like to hear, maybe if you have one of the things we want to do is do player spotlights. So we would love to hear people we need to watch out for, because so that DeSalvatore guy, I've heard his name quite a bit, and he's also a very, very big kid. So I know for sure we're going to be looking out for him.
Yeah, it's our whole senior group, because they're like the biggest piece to our team right now, because our team's young. So the seniors are the guys that were part of that playoff team. So they got to mold these guys, and I feel like a good job as being new and getting to these young guys is pretty dope. And we got a couple of sophomores, juniors that it's really hard to say who right now, because we're yet to see where we are as a team. But individually, just seeing those guys that I've had from basketball that's playing football, I know what to expect from them. But seeing us as a team is where. But just our whole senior group, man. Just watch for that whole senior group. Watch for that whole senior group.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that, the youth football. I know it's flag football, and we briefly talked about it. I'd love to eventually, at some point in time, I'd love to get like a midget league football team out of St. John that is just competing with the local area. That would be amazing to me. Maybe that's a bug we can put in someone's ear, because last year when we had the kids, I think we still had like 30 kids between the ages of, my son was what, 5? Yeah, like 5 and like 12. You know what I mean? There was enough to throw together a team. Midget League football, why, I don't know if it's still called that or not. That's the only way I can reference it. But maybe in due time, maybe that's someone we could throw. Oh, is it? Okay, yeah. So, maybe in due time, that's something we put a bug in the ear to somebody, because that would be amazing to start even younger, when, starting at that young age and really weeding out the kids that want to do it versus they don't, because, or go play soccer, like Corlew used to say to Sammy.
Well, actually, so I'm glad you said that, Ryan. So another unique thing that St. John deals with is multi-sport athletes, which is not something you typically see in football. So multi-sport athletes, typically, in the bigger schools, it doesn't apply to football. But in St. John, I think you have to make the most of every athlete you have. So what are some of the things that make that tough, and how do you guys move around that?
Yeah, right. It's a real challenge, but, it's a good problem to have, I suppose. You're right. The reality is we can't offer just as many. We have a lot of sports offerings for a small school, which I'm really proud of, and that's something you can compliment Rock on. He gets a lot of credit for that, but it does present challenges for you as a coach. My kind of philosophy on it, I know Coach Parker backs me up on this, is let's lean into that and make it an advantage. One of the first things was the Coach Fuentes, our head soccer coach, reached out to me and said, "Hey, look, our boys are going to have football in the mornings. They're all playing baseball for some summer league, most of them, on Mondays and Thursdays. Who's in cross country? Who's doing tennis ladders? Is there a way we can work together to make sure they're getting great workouts, but we're not overtaxing them, or we're certainly not double booking them?" And by the way, yeah, I would say, Coach P, we've got like 7 or 8 kids on the soccer team.
Yeah.
A big number. So we go to their soccer conditionings on Wednesday nights. We do our installs on Wednesday morning, so it's a little more low key in terms of the conditioning and strength. We're just putting in plays, and we might play a little ultimate football at the end to have some fun. But then we get a great workout in from Coach Fuentes and his staff. Me and Coach P show up just to make sure our guys aren't knuckleheads up at the soccer practice. And at first, for the pure, I'll give you a good example. My boy Devin Mercilia, he's been playing football at St. John since he was in 6th grade. He's an 11th grader this year. He's going to be one to watch. And he just flat out told me, he's like, "Really? You want me to go to soccer practice?" Then he made it to his first one. He's like, "Wow, that was a workout." So, and that was, I think that's just really cool that we're willing to work together. We've already laid out our schedules as best we can, our projected schedules for when school gets back in session. We share not just the athletes, but that field. Coach Fuentes is great. He's like, you take that first, so you can get your athletes right out there, and then you can get your non-soccer players in the weight room. And I just think that's really cool. So that's what you have to do.
Yeah, that's really.
We're not big. We have to be fast. And soccer is nonstop running, man. And watching those kids condition, I was tired for them, man. I'm like, sheesh. I see why I didn't play soccer in high school, man, because I died. So
it was a running joke until we tried, I tried to play it, and I'm like, "What do you mean what do you mean we're still running?"
Right. That aspect, like, we have to have speed. We got to be fast to make up for our size. You know what I mean? And with Coach Alvin, Alvin's gonna help our size. So, man, it's bright. It's bright for us. It's really bright.
Yeah, if I could say one other thing about that, one of the kind of core principles that we wanted to lay out for our kids this year was one team, one fight. And you'll hear that from me a lot this year. And the idea there is, it's not just our team, it's St. John School and St. John community. If the football coach is going to just I'll say it, just piss on the soccer coach, or I'm not doing this, and I'm going to schedule my practice during your time. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. It's great having 2 basketball guys on the staff that are going to work. We're going to work together. Right now they're kind of toning down the open gyms to make sure the guys are ready for football. And as we get nearer to their season, I totally understand. We got to make sure our guys are ready to win basketball games too. And that's the way it is. And I should also say Coach Scott Blank, our wrestling coach, who I think we all know we got a darn good wrestling program out there at St. John.
Yep, we do.
Yep.
He was our defensive coordinator all those years under Nisley. He had already decided to spend a little more time in the fall with his family because for the last 3 years he'd really worked hard with us and a little more time to get geared up for his wrestling season. But I called him and he's 100% got our back. Same thing. He says, my wrestlers will be there if you need any help, if they're screwing off. And oh, by the way, I'll still scout for you on Friday. So we're all working together as one team, one fight. And I think it's working for St. John. I do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that unity certainly shows in, like it was 2 years ago, the playoffs, the playoff team, but the wins just based on the amount of kids you guys had and the teams you guys were beating were nothing short of impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone on record a couple different times. So St. John, for the people if you don't know, St. John probably had 2 of the best athletes I've ever seen in my life playing for that football team in the Lockett boys. They got one that's playing actually at Michigan State that year. So it's just really impressive what you guys are doing. I thoroughly enjoy it. We have, we're a St. John family here too. So we have completely thrown ourselves into there, and it really is a very small community, but it's a very vocal community, a very close-knit community. And some of the things going on this year is with the schedule. So
Sure.
You guys have 8 games on there, which is the minimum to make the playoffs. And I actually went on to GoIdol.com today, and the top 3 seeds actually in our region only had 9 games. So schedules really aren't that common at a Division 7, the Division 7 level. But some of the big names on the schedule are Steubenville Catholic is an away game that you guys are going to get a long bus drive down there for. And Steubenville Catholic actually has a St. John connection, right?
Yes. Jessica Loomis, she coaches the girls basketball team down in Steubenville Catholic. I think she graduated in 05, I believe, 04, 05. So it's pretty cool, man.
Jessica Lumen is one of the standout athletes of this area, and that's another thing too that we're announcing. We do promise there is going to be a female presence on here. We're just trying to approach it in the correct manner. We saw that St. John actually hired another coach for their junior high, and Mary Kane, or Mary Juliana, who is a watcher of this too. So we're going to try and get some of the volleyball coaches on there too, because I'll tell you what, St. John, that's another thing they've got going for them. The girls' sports are tough.
Yes, they are. And consistently tough.
Every year they are tough. But one of the ones that struck my chord also on here was Collinwood on the schedule.
Yeah.
So me and Ryan and Tom was actually in school when that happened too, so it applies to him too. At Lakeside, Collinwood is one of our losses to that very difficult Cleveland team. So I know you don't circle any games yet, but are there some are there some that you're really familiar with as opposed to not, stuff like that coming into this year?
I'll make it real simple. Those first 3 games are what I'm going to call our non-traditional opponents, just because we don't play them year in and year out like we have since I was there. Steubenville, I've said before, I've done my homework. It's always cool too. We enjoy playing other Catholic schools because we'd have to travel all the way to Lake Catholic, which I wouldn't be a huge fan of, or Warren Van Cater area to play in a Catholic school. So that's neat, but anything with Steubenville in front of it is going to have some real good football players, some real tough kids.
Some competition.
Competition. So we know what we're getting into with that. With that being said, yeah, you're right, Sammy. 2-hour bus ride. That's about an hour and a half shorter than the longest one we had to do last year. So we'll take it. Collinwood, I think, is going to be an interesting matchup. Yeah, they're Division 4, which is that's a big school for us. But it looks like my research, they were 2-8 last year. They're a pretty quick team. I think they spread the ball out some, but they're not huge from the little bit I've been able to get. I think we can, if we can be sound and consistent in what we do, which is kind of disciplined, which is kind of our whole philosophy, then I think maybe we can play keep away and give them a ball game.
Yeah, I mean, well, like Sammy was saying previously, a D7 school coming in and beating a D4, that puts some points on the board to get you where you want it to go. Yeah, I mean, these are big games. The big games for St. John, in this area. I remember when that playoff team came 2 years ago, this area just came together. It didn't matter whether your kid was from Lakeside or Edgewood, just the general vicinity. Everyone was talking about St. John. So, but that is, I mean, honestly, if you're going to circle a game, I would say that one, and I know we talked about it a little bit too at the end of the year at Fairport Harbor. So I'm sure, I know notoriously it's not been as much of a rivalry, I think you said,
right.
But I'm sure you want to kick that dust up again and let it ride. You know what I mean?
We are working on that. We're working on that. That's a big one for me. I got to tell you, I want to reestablish with the kids. No, I'm not saying they don't have it. I mean, they played some tough games against them. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to play them last year because we went to the 8-man football, and they stuck on their schedule. I give them credit for that. And then they found an 11-man opponent in West Virginia, and they ended up playing them. But I think losing that year just kind of hurt things. It kind of always does. 2 years ago, the playoff year was when we lost 19-14, or we won 19-14. But if Terry Lockett hadn't gone off the way he did, might have been a different story. And so that was a fun game. And so that's something we want to really drill in their head. Hey, week 10 at Fairport Harbor, should have to say anything else,
I'll tell you, one of the teams I remember from that playoff year was, I believe it was Wyndham.
Yeah, Wyndham was real tough that year.
Yeah, which you guys ended up beating and then losing to. But, I mean, just uber, hyper competitive games between them. So, I mean, you guys were jockeying for playoff position with that last game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, so we went in the Fairport game, we were both undefeated. And then we went in 3-0 against Wyndham 3-0. And we played them really, really tough in the first quarter. But once again, the injuries happen. And they're a small school too, so you don't want to make excuses. But when you have them and they don't, that's a challenge. But what you're saying, Sammy, I agree with, is the atmosphere was just awesome. And the guys pounding each other, that was a physical game, very physical, a lot of fun. And yet, interestingly, Wyndham's the only NAC school, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're the only NAC school that's not on their schedule this year. So we basically played a NAC schedule. That's Fairport just joined, and your Chalker, and your PV, and Vienna Matthews. And there's no reason why they just, they were full and that they don't fit into 4 or 9. So, because we'd be happy to play Wyndham again.
Yeah, because those were fun to watch. I know the kids got into it, and they're. I know as a somebody who's watching football, and I think the panel guys would agree. You don't want it necessarily to get chippy, but when the game becomes a game, it's fun to watch.
Right.
When the kids get invested in it, there's a different level of football, and it was really, really fun to watch that. And I'll be honest, I've seen that in every sport that St. John plays Fairport Harbor in anyway. They could have a spelling bee, and somehow it would get
Yeah, that's true. Oh, man, these coaches for basketball, they could tell you that.
Yeah.
I love watching. I love going to watch those games.
So one of the things you talked about was last year going down to an 8-man schedule. So you're coming off of a very, very successful for this area season. We bumped down to an eight-man football simply because of turnout, simply because, looking out for the best interests of the kids. But it's a completely different world.
Sure.
So what are some of the things that kind of, I guess, caught you off guard? And then what are some of the things that you would have taken and kind of just put in your back pocket for this year?
Oh, yeah, great question. Well, I could go on and on about the things that caught us off guard. One of the things that caught me a little off guard is it kind of did look like football. I mean, we talked a little bit how you can notice a difference, but kids are still blocking and tackling. And overall, I think that was a much better decision than to forego football.
Absolutely.
Again, like you say, with St. John being innovative and Sister and Rock being forward thinking, a lot of schools could have said, let's take a 1-year hiatus or let's start a season with 12 kids knowing we can't finish it. Or, hey, let's try this out. Other schools are doing it, and let's take the backlash, if there is some, and try it. And one thing we learned is that at least with the schools that play it here, there's not many, and they're mostly in Northwest Ohio, but it's not a wide open flag football game. I mean, the teams beat us by just pounding the ball. And I think one of the things people don't realize is you can kind of spread things out and play flag football, as I call it, but it's not these deep bombs like you might think. And that's kind of what we thought, but you got to realize when you pull the tackles off the field, because that's typically the formation if you're going to throw the ball. So now you got a center and 2 guards. Well, that is not much time to rush that edge. I mean, you're there like that. And then if you widen out your guys, then you're coming right through the A gap even faster. So if we had it to do again, I think we might have looked at how can we pound the ball a little bit better and things like that. But that being said, what do you put in your back pocket? Well, that our kids got another year to learn how to block and tackle. The fundamentals and things like that. So, and you know how it is. Sometimes you have to lose to know how to win. So, just to kind of caveat, Coach Parker said earlier that maybe expectations aren't super high because you've got a brand new coaching staff. You've got a team that played 8-man football and didn't win a game. And now they're making the jump back to 11-man. And frankly, to be honest, all that is a challenge. And, if I knew nothing else, if I was reading this, if I moved I'm an alumni of St. John and I'm reading about all this in Tempe, Arizona, I don't know. I'm thinking, I hope they win a game, But sometimes when you've got that losing going, you got competitive kids like Fuentes and Salvatore Marsilia Hammers, and then you get coaches that want to win, and they get sick of losing. Yep. And no one's expecting them to win. And sometimes that can be dangerous. Sometimes that's where you catch people off guard and you do great things. So that's what we're shooting for.
Well, St. John, being as small as it is now, it's never been a big school, but the program is storied. There are very successful. So if anybody who's not been to St. John, if you have any questions as to where this program stood in this community, just look at the wall. There are state championships, there are playoff teams, and not so ancient that these guys still aren't coming to games. So, for you as an alumni, I think it's very cool, and I love that St. John's doing that by keeping in-house and keeping that pride. By keeping that pride, because not that you're going to coach harder, but I just think you're going to coach. It kind of changes the game a little bit. There is, you have a personal investment in your alma mater.
Sure. Yeah, I would echo that. And that's another thing Coach Isley would usually do once or twice a year is just tell the guys, I love St. John. I love being here, but, these will never be my colors. It's not the school I played for. And he point to me and he point to Ryan and say, these guys, they get it, and which is really cool. But then what else is really cool is when you want to expand on that, you can bring in guys like Coach Parker, who did not play at St. John, but I think he's already bleeding blue from what he calls me and the Facebook posts and everything else. Yep. So, and then And that's the perfect combination because you got the pride that was there, and then you got the outside thinking that now has the pride, and it puts us in a good place.
Yeah, there's a lot of positive things going on, and I'm super excited about it.
I had a quick question for Marcus because I know you did the basketball, and obviously we've talked quite a bit about kids are multi-sport athletes. Is there anything from basketball that you're going to be able to bring into football, as in coaching wise? I don't know. Maybe it's a bad question, but I'm just trying to think about whether it's conditioning, strength, but how basketball, what those kids did, can help transition into football and make the Heralds a better team, via basketball.
I like that you asked that because football is going to be able to benefit basketball. I can be, football's physical. Basketball, there's not too much physicality, but like football's constant. So you can be harder on them, get them, push them harder. In football, that transition to basketball, so it's like football complements basketball. So what I didn't get to do basketball, I can do right now. That's gonna lead into next basketball season. So they know my expectations of them coming into the basketball season, and they know
especially with
extra season on these boys.
Yeah.
It's like Collinwood on the schedule. So what Collinwood, what they're gonna give them, I'm giving them every day practice. So.
Yep. I love it. And then, Coach Bob, I did have a question. So you graduated from St. John, correct? I think you said that. I'm sorry if I'm. So, is there anything from your high school days when you played ball that you would love to carry on into your coaching success? Is there anything that you could think? It was just a thought that came into my head. Is there anything like that you guys did back in the day that you'd love to see happen again?
Oh, that's a good question. Beat Fairport.
I know. Yeah, right. Okay.
Playing in the air tonight in the locker room where everybody's meditating quietly, and then they go. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. The drum solo from that might be the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Yep.
We used to do that. I don't think it worked because honestly, we weren't that good. Pretty much all we did was beat Fairport. Things that are fun like that. Things that what I want. I want that, but I want the kids to pick it. I want the kids to pick maybe a tradition like that then means something to them and carries forward.
That would be honestly would be awesome because you guys are laying new groundwork for the most part. I mean, it's a whole new coaching staff. You guys kind of have an opportunity, like you see, Notre Dame has their own sign, and Ohio State does their own thing. I know that's collegiate versus high school, but it'd be kind of cool to see you guys start like a tradition there. Excuse me, helping a tradition evolve into the next step. That would be amazing. Sorry.
Yeah, it would.
So one thing I wanted to touch on lightly, but DeWine's statement on football. Sorry, Sammy, but I wanted to kind of get into it a little bit. He basically said over the next 30 days is going to determine whether or not football is going to happen in Ohio. And we did find out earlier that boys and girls golf is a go, which is awesome. But
volleyball as well.
Volleyball as well. I'm sorry. But my question is so I wonder what happens, and this is all hypothetical, and I think it'd be really interesting, is if DeWine says you can only play football in your county. I kind of miss the in-house rivalry of sorts. I don't know if that would be something. I don't know if you can even answer on it, but it is something that I just thought about. Like St. John playing Lakeside, or Edgewood playing St. John. Something of that nature. In time, I think that would be interesting to get back to that. I just didn't know what your thoughts on that were.
St. John did play Edgewood, though I believe the playoff year and beat them.
We did.
Right. Okay.
And actually, for a couple years in a row before that. And so, I'll touch on that too. Being independent, again, here's the school being kind of forward thinking. And I like conferences too. And if we find the right fit for us, I'd like to join the conference. But being independent allows us a lot of flexibility in our scheduling. So I don't know if we've done the math this year, but in the last few years, Rock tells me we play more county schools than any other school if you add all sports combined. Because we'll get our volleyball team out there against other schools. We'll get, and I think that's changing as the conferences have realigned and Edgewood and Lakeside and everyone's worked together now. But for a while there, that allowed us to do that. As far as county only, for football, like if the governor said that, it's funny you say that because earlier today, and I don't know who was who or what was what, but I was in this group chat with Mike Greco and then all the head football coaches and it was him just asking for thoughts about something totally different. And some of this came out. And right away, people started going, county league, question mark, what could we do? It was very candid conversation. Because I'm the new guy and no one even has my phone number in the thing. I'm probably Coach Betchko, and then there's just these numbers. So, but I will say this: as far as a county league someday, forget coronavirus. I think that'd be the coolest thing in the world. That'd be the coolest thing in the world because exactly what you guys said. You build those rivalries when those kids see each other. When they're running into each other across the harbor, whatever it is, they're playing pickup games of basketball in the summertime. It just means so much more. And consistently, when I go to a volleyball game or a basketball game or a St. John Edgewood football game, it's our biggest gate or the opposing school's biggest gate of the night, And if I have time to make it to someone else's volleyball game, basketball game, whatever it is, because I always try to get to my Herald stuff, I'm only going if it's two county schools playing against each other, man. That's fun to me,
Yep. Well, I mean, simply put, I mean, honestly, St. John versus Edgewood, regardless whether it was home or away, you would never have to worry about who's going to come down to Steubenville with us. You know what I mean? You're going to have like four cars behind the bus. You know what I mean? And that's it, because a lot of parents just can't do it versus if it's, St. John versus Lakeside this night, regardless of home or away. You're going to have a big crowd, which is going to fund, help fund the schools or whatever, it may be. When I played ball, Sammy played ball, and, even Tom, when he was at school, it was an NEC league. Yeah, it was the NEC. And, and I don't St. John wasn't part of that, but I mean,
right before we started school. So
were they?
Yeah. So prior to 1999, so we start high school in 2001. The NEC consisted of Ashtabula Harbor, St. John, Edgewood, and Painesville and Riverside. And I want to say maybe Madison was in there, but Madison may have already jumped ship at that time.
Madison was in the pack by that time.
It was an 8-team conference. So that's really and the reason why I bring that up is because so after that breaks up and then the traditional NEC that we played in, PV actually left too. But I think people forget that Pymatumee Valley is Ashtabula. That is Ashtabula County. So that's another that's on the schedule on week 5. Pymatumee Valley is a very, very tough team. They have been playoffs like every 2 or 3 years they make the playoff because they end up with some very big kids. What do you like? Are you very familiar with Pymatumee Valley and that football program?
Well, yeah. I mean, I want to say we've played them every year that I've been on the coaching staff. I'll be totally honest. I don't know if anything's changed down there since last year in terms of coaching or their numbers and stuff. Because obviously, the one year, I guess I take that back. We did not play them last year. So that's the other thing that really kind of stinks about the 8-man is we did lose a year of continuity with most of these schools. We did play Vienna Matthews in an 11-man game last year. So we played them 8-man week 1, and then we played them 11-man because oddly enough, our numbers grew.
They did throughout the year.
Yeah. And so we did do that. But yeah, you're exactly right about PV. I mean, PV, sometimes they get, they're never bad. I would never call PV a bad football team, but sometimes they're better than normal because they get some big kids in there. Remember the wrestler Gage Willis? Well, he was tough. I remember when we had a great football game with them. I want to say that year we fell 3 points short. But we had, I think, I could be wrong, we had Gage Willis and we had Jacob Lagoa at middle linebacker, Gage at fullback. You want to talk about a show? Yeah. Talk about something fun to watch and hard-nosed football. That was a fun game right there. 2 state champions. Fullback, middle linebacker.
Lagoa, yeah, that was, and that kind of ties into one of the things you mentioned earlier. St. John probably has the, I mean, as far as I can see, I'm doing my best not to ruffle feathers, but as far as I've seen, St. John probably has the best wrestling program in the area. I know as far as state champions, they do. And they had a nice feeder system. So all you St. John parents, if you got one of those big boys that's not playing football, he needs to get out there. Wink, wink.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Good plug right there. And yeah, we do have a very solid wrestling program. And let's face it, the wrestling program has really helped our football program. When Coach Blank came over and some of these other guys followed him as they transitioned into their freshman year, David Cumberledge, Lagoa, Ethan Duca came to us a little bit later. I mean, these are some guys that really helped pave the way so that we can do what we're doing now. There's no doubt about that.
And Tom can attest of wrestling, particularly when it comes to being in shape. Wrestlers are the. I mean, you just get you. It's you don't get a break.
I hated my life. I hated my life for 4 years. Like, just hated it. I don't even know why I wrestled. Well, I do because my dad told me if I don't wrestle, then he's not paying for college. And then, surprise, he didn't pay for college. So it was a promise. But, you know, stuck me with that bill the day before I graduated. That was awesome.
That was your final
that was my final gift from him. To know what crippling debt is.
So one thing, so St. John, the Heralds, they play out at Spire. So I really just want to know how that connection got made, or what do you got? What do you guys think about that? Do you guys enjoy it, or I don't know if I'm asking the right question, but I'm asking.
Yeah. Well, I know a little bit of the connection because when I said at the beginning of the program that sister helped find me a job 6 years ago, one of the things she had me do was be like the coordinator for the Spire students that we housed in the building. Excuse me. So I believe that was the first year we had that partnership where we got guys like Terry Lockett and stuff that would come. And so I know the school has always had a really positive relationship with the Spire Institute. Beyond that, as far as the facility, I can say I like natural grass myself, but kids love the turf. They love the turf. They like that big field. Me, I'd like to be at the old Ranieri Field.
My man,
the raggedy old bleachers and the grass. Many of the cinder blocks didn't quite make it all the way around. So if you got tackled in the end zone, you went through that. You get these all bad. But,
when you ate dirt, you ate dirt.
You ate dirt. And the other thing that's really cool about the Spire is it helps us find games and find scrimmages. I mean, we scrimmaged Richmond Heights, I want to say 3 years in a row. They came to us. And in fact, we were going to scrimmage them again, but they're taking a 2-year break to reevaluate some things. But Richmond Heights came to us, and we were supposed to go next year. And the AD said that day, "Can we just come back?" And then they came back, and then the next year they came back. Rittman's AD, from what I'm told, was super excited about the opportunity to play the Spire. He says his kids are really excited. I don't know what came of it, but he was also talking about trying not to start too late because he wants to bring his fans to Geneva on the Lake afterwards and show them what that's all about. So the location of it, the facility, it can help us draw in opponents and things like that. So that's from the beautiful campus. That's what I know is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's we are lucky. Northeast Ohio in general, I think we take a lot of things for granted here. We are very lucky to have so many things and to have a world-class facility 10 minutes away from the school, I think is fantastic.
Which, by the way, I do believe I read there Marriott is coming in right next to it or something of that nature.
I sent that link to you guys. There's actually
did you? Was that you, Tom?
Yeah, that was the one contribution I made recently. I mean, just creating jobs out there too. I mean, like Spire's forward thinking and that kind of coinciding with what St. John does, just innovating with creating jobs, creating industry and opportunity for people in this socioeconomic area is kind of a prolific thing, something you don't really see a partnership with out here too often. So it's pretty cool. And Coach Bob, I think that would be a great benefit for you guys for scheduling too, because I mean, let's say the program gets back to that, just like that powerhouse type thing, man. You could guys could be coming from all over. I mean, I'm just gonna throw a name out here. It's not because I don't know much about high school football, like I said last night. Oh man, coming out here. Well, hey, you got the Marriott right on campus, man. You know what I mean? That'd be an awesome opportunity for you guys. That just to get exposure for you guys and those guys from Dublin Cup and like Jake Stoneburner and Mike Adams. Nowhere they had to get noticed. You know what I mean? So bringing them out there and playing competition, you guys could get your guys noticed too.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be awesome.
I would still love to see St. John eventually build their own field. Where it would be, how it would be, who knows? But I think it would be amazing to see just a small venue. It doesn't need to be anything massive, but just a small venue to call home. Spire does do the job, but I don't. There's nothing like having your, home field advantage. Like you could call it that at Geneva, but it's not really home field advantage in my opinion. That's but I with everything that St. John's doing though, like they built that new facility with the basketball and everything. The cafeteria area, I don't think it's that far-fetched to see a 100-yard football field coming in sometime soon, but I don't know I don't know anything, so I'm not dropping any hints to the audience. I have no idea.
I know one I always thought was cool was kind of the back in the day when we played, we at Lakeside and Ashtabula, we always shared the field with St. John, and it kind of had that. It almost had like that Lakers Clippers feel to it. Now today is our day, but tomorrow you're gonna come here. Like it's gonna be green and gold today, but tomorrow it's gonna be blue and gray. I don't know. I always thought that was cool. I would actually, and that's why I was
talking about the other day. Me growing up on station, I seen him every day. Him, Alvin, Pisano kids that graduated our year. So it was like those are my friends. So we planned Friday night at Canary Field. They're right here Saturday night. I'm gonna go watch them. They were watching us. So return the favor. So like you said, that Clipper Laker film that was dope.
It did. It was like a multi-use field, and it really I enjoyed that. And one of the things I would like to say, I would like to see if continuing at the Spire is it does feel very Geneva. I would love to have more of on when the Fighting Heralds are in the building. I want you to know the Fighting Heralds are in the building. So I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. I just thought of a great question. Well, in my opinion, it's great. Well, you guys will tell me if I'm an idiot or not. But when I played ball, it was always Friday night lights. But when St. John plays, sometimes it's Saturday afternoon, right? Am I correct on that?
Yeah. In the past, so I will say we have 2 Saturday games this year, and they're both 6 p.m. kicks.
Okay, so my question genuinely is, do you prefer a Friday or do you prefer a Saturday game?
I prefer a Friday game. Now, I haven't yet had to head coach game plan and have that extra day. Maybe I'll change my mind that first time I get a whole extra day in there.
Right.
But also it still puts you behind in getting ready for next week. So you're not having your Saturday morning film session. I think the intensity is there. on Friday night. There's just something about
Friday
it.
night.
It's easier, I think, to roll the kids from that pep rally at the end of the school day into the classroom.
Oh, yeah.
Calm them down just a touch, team dinner, and then now we're on the bus and we're there. Versus, okay, everybody, please wake up before 12:30 for 4 o'clock. You know what I mean? So from that aspect, there's that. You know.
I feel like that former Ohio State head coaches. Money that would be able to donate. So I'm just reading the comment. And then I think, did we have one more topic to touch on, Sammy? Make sure.
We were just talking about the Spire. That's really so one of the things with the Spire also that and just kind of before we go, St. John then would be eligible to have. How does the St. John getting a player from the Spire work?
Okay.
Okay. Yep, that was it.
Yeah. So, we get blessed with something like Terry Lockett and Tyree Lockett. There are some things that have to take place. It doesn't just happen. If a student is going to Spire and then they receive their education from us, which also I was reading in the paper, I don't think that's long for the world because I know Spire is trying to build classrooms and do everything in-house now. They're trying to do that very soon. But, let's just say we get an athlete show up on let's just say, what do you think, Coach Parker? We get a 305-pound guy that wants to play offensive guard for us. He obviously is there for some other sport because they don't offer football. So one, he has to decide, is he going to risk playing any sport for St. John? But then the real big hurdle is he's still got to meet OSHA eligibility, which basically means he has to be an Ohio resident. They're not Ohio residents just by living there and being boarded out there. What happened, I know for Lockett's was Dad actually was part of Spire staff. So he relocated and moved, and he lived in Ashtabula. So as far as OSHA was concerned, he was an Ohio resident with a bona fide move. And he really wanted to play football. So we were glad to have him. Kyrie too.
So, and that is no, I mean, I know you don't coach at Grand Valley or not but Grand River.
River Academy.
Yeah, Grand River. I guess that would be maybe a hindrance for them too, because I've always wondered why that Grand River, a smaller school in St. John, actually didn't play more often.
Well, Grand River, yeah, all right, they don't offer football. We do play them in a few sports. I know we have them on the soccer schedule because we were comparing schedules. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. Grand River seems like a nice fit for us. No, we had quite a rivalry in basketball with them for a while. And then some of those games, like you said earlier, Sammy, they got a little chippy. So I don't know if that's part of it. But I know we got them on the schedule in a few places. They're one that they'll be baseball team. Just out of the blue, solid, just bam, bam, bam. They'll kill you. And then for 3 years, they're like great matches for us, baseball games. And then all of a sudden, it's like, where do these kids come from? So.
Yeah, I am in no way, saying that I want kids to get chippy. But all I'm saying is I enjoy when kids are invested in the game.
I agree. You want them on that edge of it, but as soon as they, 15-yarders, like we were saying, that those do not work in our offense. You can't get behind the sticks like that. But when kids are playing with their pads, and they're jumping back up and they're wanting to drill a guy again, that's fun. I like that. That's what it's about,
There's nothing better than hearing that crack and then ready, let's go again.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, I want to thank both of you guys so much. We're coming right up on the time here for you for having you guys on, and I want to thank you genuinely, wholeheartedly. Again, when we started this show, this is exactly what we wanted to do, and to have both of you guys on here representing St. John, I can't thank you enough for both joining us. So I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to add in real quick before we get you guys off of here and enjoy the rest of your what is today, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday night. Yeah.
I mean, I just want everybody, Herald Nation, man, fighting Herald Nation. That's the move.
Harold Nation.
Hey, fight Harold.
Mhm.
Listen, it's too hot for this. I was gonna wear this, but it's I'm sweating in a
Yeah. Hey, I just want to say, like you guys said at the top of the show about Joe Pete, what he used to do, and Ed Lumen's another good example, and some of these guys, and the exposure that this gives our kids. And I think that Player Spotlight is so awesome. I'd much rather come and listen to what you guys are saying about our athletes than listen to myself talk for 2 hours. And because at the end of the day, you guys are giving our kids that exposure and that feeling like we were talking about last night when, like, Joe Pete mentioned your name on the radio and you were just like, you were a hero. You were strutting around school on Monday. I was a tight end of the trenches. You guys are bringing that back, and you're making the kids first. And that's why me and Coach Parker are here, kids first. You guys got the same mentality. I think that's just awesome. So thank you so much for having us tonight.
Yeah, man, we appreciate
it. I can't wait for this season. I guarantee you'll hear me because I am a screamer.
That's what we want, man. We want everybody screaming. That's what we want. These boys deserve it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I think it's awesome when you can get two younger guys who have taken it upon themselves to lead young men and women in the community. I think that it's fantastic that you guys have spearheaded this movement and rebuilding this program and really investing yourselves and getting other people to invest in it as well. It's a fantastic thing, and it was fantastic having you both on here. So thank you very much. It was enlightening because I don't know much about St. John sports or high school sports in general. So
you will this year. Go learn today.
Thank you so much. I mean, Bob, it was awesome hearing the knowledge you dropped, Marcus. That was awesome, man. Thank you so much for giving your perspective in here, and I'd love to shoot the breeze, as it were, with you guys again.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
Hopefully we're back.
All right, gentlemen.
Thanks, man. That's the mission.
Listen, when you guys make the playoffs again this year, we're doing this again.
Hey, we might do it every Friday night. They might go right now. 8-0? You never know. Let's roll. Hey, thanks again, guys. Herald Nation. Let's pick it up. Everyone out there, don't forget to like, share our stream. We're also on YouTube. We're over on Instagram. All that fun stuff. Sammy does that, and Tom. I don't know anything about it. It's a 2 review for me, but. Anyways, thanks so much, guys, everyone. I appreciate you again, Marcus. And I do have one last question for Coach Bob. What are the chances? I know you go by Coach Delgosh or Coach Bob. What do you think about Coach Deli?
Coach Deli?
I gotta ask. It hit my mind earlier. I'm just curious. Coach Deli. There was a coach. I don't know. I was just thinking about it. Remember the Cavs had Matthew Dellavedova, and every time something good happened, he hit a shot, they'd yell, Deli. I just thought Coach Deli may work out well for you. I don't know. Something to think about, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think that there's no doubt, Parker's laughing already, that tomorrow morning, everyone's going to call me Coach Deli.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about, baby. Coach Deli coming in with a hot ham and cheese sandwich, baby.
Name something.
Man.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to put that on you, but I had to ask it. I couldn't go without asking it. So, all right, everybody, thanks again. Herald's Nation, let's roll with them. Thanks again. Thanks both you guys for joining us. Fight Herald's fight. To the audience, we'll catch you guys on Friday coming up. Maybe we'll have you never know who we got on. So, again, thanks, guys. I'm getting out of here. So, we'll see you guys on Friday.
Hey.
Thank you.
Peace. Thank you.
I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Rebound taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Come here to cleanse your soul. Yeah, 4-4 and go. That other getting old. We got Sam right in time. This is a sports octagon. sports for forever and beyond. Spending with Sam Ryan time. From the puck to the glove to the pigskins high. Share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. Down the baseline in the bleachers, or you wanna get denied. Yeah, share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. 4-0 and go. Come hit it, clench your soul. Yeah, it's 4-0 and go. Come hit it, clench your soul.
The Browns Super Bowl contenders.
Hey, listen, when we start talking about what wins Super Bowl, we talk about talent. The Browns, they have the talent. They have it.